Goog Track, outback South Australia. It had been some time since we'd stretched the legs of the patrol, so we decided to take on an incredible outback trip.
This is our adventure along Goog's Track. But first, we're from Melbourne, so we had to get there. On our first night, before we were set to rough it in the tent, we stayed in a miner's cottage in Burra, South Australia. Really cosy and perfect after a big day in the car. The history was amazing, the experience fantastic.
If you're ever travelling the Air Highway, stop in at the town of Iron Knob. A near perfect example of the changing fortunes of mining towns, Iron Knob once had a population of around 3,000 workers. Now, there are closed up shops and empty houses. We're told the pub is still open for the remaining workers. The town is very quiet and almost eerie.
We camped in the gorgeous Venus Bay that night.
Goog Track runs from just north of Ceduna and finishes at the Trans-Australian Railway. The story goes that John Goog Denton and his wife, Jenny, had stood on the back of their lone oak farmhouse, looking north and wondering what was out there in the scrub. So they decided to find out for themselves, and in 1973 started to push Goog Track. Weekend after weekend, month after month for 3 years, they pushed the track from Lone Oak Farm and eventually met up with the Trans-Australian Railway near Melbourne and Tarcoola.
a sight for my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight for my soul. There goes a sight for my soul.
It may not seem like it, but these rock holes were really deep. Steve tried to touch the bottom with a nearly 2-metre stick and got nowhere near it. You can imagine that these rock holes would be a popular watering hole for the native animals on a hot summer's day.
Camp that night was Goog's Lake. Peaceful, relaxing, spectacular.
We woke up to an absolutely gorgeous morning at Goog's Lake, relaxed, and we even cooked a tasty breakfast. Where are we?
We're at Goog's Lake. Dried up salt lake. About 1 kilometre wide, 15 kilometres long. Flat, dry salt lake. And we're just exploring it. We camped up there last night. Beautiful spot. Had it all to ourselves. Absolutely to ourselves. Nobody around in any of the sites. It's been quite amazing. We had a campfire last night too, which was very nice, kept us warm, and today we're headed off to Mount Fink, so that'll be nice. We'll be able to spot it from the horizon from quite a while out, so quite a few more dunes to do, and we'll see how all that unfolds today.
Everything you said we already knew, more or less. So here's something that you didn't know. 2 of those special atomic bombs haven't gone off.
So much in love with you.
The track was fairly chopped up and corrugated. The southern side of the dunes had plenty of whoops, which are formed when travellers don't lower their tyre pressures low enough and dig into the sand on their way up instead of floating on top, which lower tyre pressures allow. On some of the dunes, we were at walking pace. Of course, this allows us to enjoy the scenery more, and we weren't in a hurry.
we got our first glimpse of Mount Fink from around 30 kilometres out, and it didn't disappoint. It was spectacular as it rose up from the flat outback landscape.
Mount Fink rises to 369 metres above sea level and is around 270 metres above the surrounding landscape. There's no actual track to the summit, you just have to climb. So, like mountain goats, we did.
It's not a hard climb, but you have to watch your footing as the shale and spinifex pose some hazards. But the epic view at the top is totally worth the effort.
Wedge-tailed eagle and 3 other birds. After we climbed down off Mount Fink and headed back to camp, we relaxed through the afternoon. That evening, we were treated to a stunning sunset.
Unlike the days prior, we had blue skies and complete sunshine when we left Mount Fink. The remaining kilometres of Goog's Track north of Mount Fink were seriously chopped up and it was slow going. But always good fun sand driving.
We met the Trans-Australian Railway at the end of Goog's Track and at the end of a spectacular drive. An amazing trip in outback South Australia. From here, you head east along the Trans-Australian Railway Access Road. It's a very neat but corrugated road, passing through the communities of Tarcoola and Kingunya before meeting the blacktop at Glendambo.
Thank you so much for watching. If you loved watching our Goog's Track adventure, please like our video. We would love it if you press the subscribe button so that you can continue to follow more of our four-wheel drive adventures.